Welcome, one and all, to the Jim Masters Show, live entertainment, lifestyle, celebrity talk show series. This is your host, Jim Masters. Look who is joining us live and direct from Lauderdale by the Sea in sunny Florida. We're talking about Mark Lyman, recording artist, platinum and gold selling recording artist, and guitarist extraordinaire, songwriter, talent manager, agent. He's done it all, continues to do it all. Matter of fact, he's vice president of AIM, worldwide, Artists International Management, lead guitarist for the iconic rock group Luba, and also guitarist with Sacred Union Band as well. And again, he is a platinum and gold selling artist, and he manages some of your favorite artists and bands, yes, through AIM. We're going to talk about that. He's a talent manager and agent extraordinaire as well. Good to have you with us. I'm your host, Jim Masters. If you're stopping by for the first time, this is our entertainment, lifestyle, celebrity variety talk show series that we started just shy of 3 years ago. Hundreds of episodes. You can see them all here on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. For those who are perusing the channel, binge watch some of your favorite stars, celebrity friends who've stopped by, and so much more from all different backgrounds: Broadway, Hollywood, television, film, music, stage, culinary arts, sports, comedy, inspiration, and all the rest. And of course, for those of you who watch regularly, you know we fill it with our JMS Levity. That is good times and good vibes here on our conversational style talk show series. Welcome, gang. Good to have you with us. Really busy day for me. I was on radio all day and then working on some television projects as well. Matter of fact, we're going to be heading to Canada in just a few weeks, up to Edmonton for 2 television projects. So we're working, getting that all together as well. I'm so excited to have Mark here. He is extraordinary. I thought I was busy. He's been doing this for some 45 years, and he is incredible. We welcome everybody. Hey, gang, if you would like to comment in our JMS Lovely chat room while the show is on, we actually have a chat room that's open right now. Feel free when you subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is Jim Masters TV, where this episode and all of them are archived. You can comment during the show while the show is on, say hello to one another as well. And that's pretty cool. We love the fact that you guys are so interactive. May even show a comment or two on the screen right here as we go along. Let me tell you a little bit about our extraordinary guest. Really amazing. He was born in Montreal, Canada, surrounded by guitars since he was a toddler. Mark, at the age of 10, discovered the album that would define his musical future. Jimi Hendrix, Are You Experienced? And as a young, driven, self-taught, and ear-trained guitar player, he dreamed of recording albums and touring the world, and that's exactly what he did. Fast forward to 1982, at the age of 25, as the guitarist for the Canadian rock band Luba, which he helped form, he signed a multi-album contract with Capitol Records, which led to recording their first gold-selling album, Secrets and Sins, with Grammy Award-winning producer Daniel Lanois, from U2 and Peter Gabriel and Bob Dylan and Neville Brothers as well. Really cool. And of course, working with Narada Michael Walden, who's of course been with Aretha Franklin, and working with Whitney Houston, Steve Winwood, Al Green, and Diana Ross. They worked together on their follow-up platinum selling album, Between the Earth and the Sky. Mark spent the next 8 years writing, recording, and performing to sold-out arenas across Canada, sharing the stages with the likes of Bryan Adams, Krista Berg, Cheap Trick, Paul Young, Brian Ferry. And during this time, Luba saw a massive radio play, and that was for their various hit singles: Every Time I See Your Picture, Let It Go, Storm Before the Calm, How Many Rivers to Cross, with a solo performance by Kenny G, and The Best Is Yet to Come, written by Graham Lyle and Terry Britton, composers of What's Love Got to Do With It for Tina Turner. All of which hit the top 10 positions on the Canadian rock charts, which led to winning numerous Juno Awards as well. And that's Canada's Grammys for both music and videos as well. Really incredible background that he's got. And we're going to tell you more, as we go along. We're going to just sprinkle it all in here. let's welcome him to the show as we get a chance to really chat about his extraordinary career. He's also a guitarist with Sacred Union Band and has a ball with that as well. We've got some cool photos to show you from the past. For those of you who have been excited because we were telling you that he was coming on the show. Yeah, you remember him from there, I don't doubt, and so much more. Thanks for the comments. Just take a look at also the comments that are coming in. It's really cool. So again, gang, if you would like to comment while the show is on, feel free to do that. And we'll be very happy to have you guys, celebrate with us what we're talking about here. Let me just tell you a little bit more about his extraordinary background. In 1986, Mark and the band were chosen to perform How Many Rivers to Cross in Tokyo, Japan, representing Canada at the Yamaha World Popular Song Festival, and saw two of their singles, The Best Is Yet to Come and Let It Go, grace the opening and closing credits of the major motion picture film 9.5 Weeks, starring Kim Basinger and Mickey Rourke. And in 1992, Mark made the move from Montreal, Canada to Hollywood, Florida. And that initiated the start of his career in talent management and booking with Artists International Management, where he is a managing partner. And he's been doing this for a long time. And really extraordinary, too, on so many different levels. We're so excited to have him here. We're going to talk about some of the amazing people as well that he has worked with, that he represents. Jerry Lee Lewis, just one name, and so many others. We'll sort of tease you a little bit because there's so many of them here. We'll tell you in just a second about some of the other ones. But again, take a look at what you're seeing on the screen here. You guys may remember fondly. I know many of you have been posting that you have some of the records still from Luba. Sacred Union Band is the band that he's with right now. It's amazing he can still do all that while also being vice president of AIM. Here's some shots of the band, the current band he's in right now. As I mentioned, recording artist, guitarist, songwriter, talent manager, vice president of AIM worldwide, formerly guitarist with the iconic rock band Luba, and so much more. Join me, gang, in welcoming him live and direct, as I mentioned, from sunny Lauderdale by the Sea in Florida. A new friend to the Jim Masters Show live series, Mark Lyman, is here, and I see a lot of comments built up, so keep them coming, folks. We love the enthusiasm. Mark, welcome to the show. It's great to have you with us.
Thanks, Jim. Great to be here with you.
I was going to say, I thought I was busy, but
well, my bed is ready. The pillow is out.
Right. So those being surrounded by the guitars as a toddler, and the age of 10, you discovered Jimi Hendrix. That was really a major turning point for you in your life, huh?
Yeah, I could remember being at an elementary friend, his house, and he pulled out an album of his older sister and put it on, and I went, what is that?
Yeah.
And then he showed me the album cover because, in those days you actually had album covers.
Yeah, I know. And liner notes.
And liner notes, exactly. So when I looked at it, I went, oh my God, it just had an epiphany.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah. So, you had the guitars around you, right? Those guitars. Tell us about, being surrounded by that already at an early age. Were you playing several different guitars? I mean, how did you learn?
No, I just from relatives. There was always guitars around. So as a toddler, I was always playing around with them. When I was probably around 5 or 6 years old, I wound up with an uncle got me a small acoustic guitar, and I tried to figure it out. Went for some lessons, didn't like it because I had to do what they said.
Yes,
and, really wasn't my thing. So I learned my first couple of chords, and then I realized pretty early on that you could play different songs with those two chords. So I kind of started to progress in that area, and I had friends that had electric guitars, and I wanted one, and I couldn't figure out how to get one yet. Some of them had brothers that were in bands, so there was always guitars that they had, and I was kind of jealous. So I kind of figured out a way to take an old reel-to-reel recorder that I had, that someone had given me, and taken the microphone and taped it to that little guitar. And when I'd strum,
Yeah. I think you froze there, Mark, a little bit.
um,
You froze there a little bit.
my real electric guitar. Okay, yeah, I'm back.
You're welcome back.
So I got my first real. I'm back. Hey, I'm back.
He's back.
Got my first electric guitar, my first good one. I've got my first really good electric guitar. Well, really good. My first electric guitar at age 13 with a little amplifier, and it just went on from there. Buying guitars as I got older. I started to learn more and start to understand music a little better, and was hanging out with friends who were musicians. So just never went into actually learning the theory of it, but just
Right.
my ears were trained well enough that I was able to sit in my room and listen to music and listen to songs and pick them up and try and mimic them in the bedroom. And that's what I did. Friends were outside playing hockey and football and baseball, and I was in my room learning how to, figure out songs.
Right. Who were you listening to at the time? Who were some of the influences? You mentioned Hendrix. Who else was on the radio, and were you sort of really being inspired by Mark?
Well, of course, you said Jimi Hendrix was one. Eric Clapton was another. I loved Deep Purple, and I loved Grand Funk Railroad. These are, guys like Mark Farner from Grand Funk, and I also started to listen to progressive rock music that was played a lot in Montreal, because that part of the world was very much into European progressive rock, anything from overseas. It didn't matter if it was King Crimson, it didn't matter if it was Emerson, Lake and Palmer, or Yes, or Genesis. So I was listening to a lot of those groups and the guitar players that were involved, like Steve Hackett from Genesis and Steve Howe, and of course the great David Gilmour of Pink Floyd was a huge favorite of mine. So those were the guys that I really enjoyed listening to, and what they did, and the sound they put out, and the melodies that they wrote, and it was a very cool time for me.
Absolutely. So before, Luba comes along, this iconic rock band, were you in other bands before? Were you with other groups and buddies? What was happening prior, as you were really growing and fine tuning your skills?
Oh, we had friends in high school that, there was always like a band that I was in, and there was the rival band that I was never in.
Right.
But the funny thing is, eventually the drummer of the rival band and myself got together at McGill University, and that's when Luba started. So two rival guys from two different bands who never played together wind up doing this project, and it takes off. So that was kind of the irony of it. But I just basically stuck to like a couple of guys. We didn't really play that much. We sort of jammed in the garage. It was like what they call the garage bands now. So that's what we wound up doing until the parents came and kicked us out.
That's it. Turn that down.
Yep. Yeah.
Look at the shot on the screen there, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was 1983 at the Montreal.
Froze there a little bit. Can you hear us, Mark? You froze there a little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
I do.
We should have had you. We should have had you just do this on the beach there by the ocean, on the ocean.
Yeah, that would have been good.
That would have been nice. Sunset.
My better half said to do it at the ocean, but I said, by 7:00, we're just going to see darkness.
She did say that, huh?
She mentioned it. Yeah, she said, do it by the ocean. I said, okay, might be a little too dark to do it at that. Yeah.
So you were saying this is 83, the photo?
That's 83 Montreal Forum Christaberg tour. And that was great. That was our first arena tour. And it was really cool. Yeah, that's I think from the same show. That's when I had a lot of hair. Or at least more than I do now.
Really,
yeah.
Cool shots, huh?
Close your mouth, Mark.
What? Have you ever met a musician that doesn't have it open while they're intensely, like drummers?
Bending a string. Yeah.
Right.
When you're bending a string like that, you have that facial expression, or at least I do.
Exactly. You as well, which is something really, really cool. You and you mentioned, Christopher, you shared the stages with people like Bryan Adams and Cheap Trick and Paul Young and Brian Ferry. And this is during the time when Luba was seeing massive radio play. Tell us about how Luba was initially formed, how it all came together.
Well, that's going back to later on in McGill University, and the other band member, our rivalry, our drummer Peter at the time. Him and I met back up. We knew each other from as far back as elementary school. He was a year ahead of me, and so we knew each other in high school, of course, but we were never running in the same circles because he was a year older. When we got to university, he was already in there for his first year in political science, which is what I enrolled in. And we were in the same classes together. So, of course, the two of us start talking music right away. And the next thing is we decide that we're going to get together and try and do something, not knowing what was going to happen. But of course, this was his dream. This was my dream. We'd always talked about these things, even though we were never, like I said, running in the same circles together. We always had this dream. And he, at the time, had a girlfriend. Her name was Luba. And I had a friend who was a bass player. So we had a singer, a bass player, and a guitar player, and a drummer. Eventually, we got a keyboard player. And it eventually morphed into songwriting, going into studios and recording. He happened to have a friend who was an assistant engineer in one of these major recording studios in Montreal. A lot of people big artists out of that area recorded there. So he would call us up and say, come on in, it would be 6:00 at night, come in for 8:00, come in 2 hours, bring all your gear, and you have till 8:00 the next morning. So we'd go in and we'd have ideas already that we'd want to put down, and we would work right through the evening. And by the time we got out at 8:00 in the morning, there was semblances of almost completed songs. So during our time of going out and playing and getting booked at local venues and again recording, whenever we could, we put together a demo tape and went and shopped it around. And eventually we got interest from it was RCA Records in Canada, and the gentleman who was the A&R director at the time really liked what he was hearing and wanted to sign us, but the budget had been blown on another artist who enrolled all the guys from Toto for his album. And of course, they probably charged an arm and a leg, so the budget was blown. He couldn't sign us, and so he sent us to a gentleman who was a manager at the time, who shopped this around because he loved what he heard and brought it to Capitol Records, and they loved it. Came to Montreal had us, go into a sound stage, and we sat with the execs and we played, I don't know, half a dozen songs for them that they wanted to see us and hear us play. And we sat down right after that, kind of audition, if you want to call it. And they said, "We're sending you a record contract. We want you signed to Capitol Records Canada." And
Wow.
that was it. That's where it started.
Were you pinching yourself? I mean, Capitol Records is like,
Yeah, I could show you black and blue marks still on my arm.
You
from
still
the
got
pinches. Oh yeah, I'm still trying. Yeah, it's still there.
Yeah, I don't doubt. Yes, those are wonderful black and blue marks to have.
Yeah.
Phew.
We looked at each other and went, "Really? This is happening now?"
Yeah.
It was quite a time, but we knew that something was going to happen, because we knew we had the goods. We knew we had what it takes to get to that level. So we just pursued it and we got it. It's just we knew it was going to happen at some point. Did you think that the success would be so incredible and would be so well received? I mean, it was incredible, huh? Phenomenal run. We started to hear our music on the radio, and when the manager called and said, "Okay, you guys are going out on tour," we knew that it had hit. It was that time, and especially after listening to what was going on, looking at our manager giving us information on where the playlists were across Canada and the radio stations and what was being played there. We knew that it was happening, and where the numbers were on the charts. So that was really something that we.
How did that experience at an early age like that, which is extraordinary and rare in life, change your life? What happened in its form and progression that changed the trajectory of your life, Mark, having been a part of this iconic rock band?
Jim, the life didn't really change that much, because we were all the same kids from the same area. We other than just having the ability to now go in and write music and record and work with some amazing producers, and having those experiences, really, everybody was looking at us like, "Wow, this is so amazing. I'm so jealous. I'm so happy for you guys." And for us, it was like, we just kept doing it. It was almost like, okay, time for the next album. Let's start writing. Let's go in and do some stuff. We'd be on the road. "Hey, I got a great idea." The usual, how it usually happens with groups. But we never lost the fact that, we were always together as friends, during this time. We had been friends for many years, and we included our families every time we played. They were always backstage with us. So you can imagine, the short story for the funny part of this is, my mom was always, talking to friends, and, "What's your son doing?" "Oh, he's an attorney. He's a doctor. He's a dentist." "What does your son do?" At that point, before we were doing anything, "Well, he's in music." Then all of a sudden the band hit, and it's like, "Oh, Mary's son is in Luba. How amazing." It's like my mother would go everywhere. "Where's Mark today? Like, where is he?" She'd be like the celebrity, the turnaround.
Right.
So it was kind of funny that all of a sudden she was like, "My son's a musician." All of a sudden, "Yeah, my son's in Luba." So it was a nice switch up. She liked the attention when it came down to that. But
what were some of the moments that you remember, some of the great moments for either you personally or for the band that stand out for you over the years with Luba?
Well, the first, the first arena we played at on the Chris de Burgh tour in '83, I believe it was in Calgary, what they called the Calgary Corral, and it was pretty cool. and we went on to play, the additional arenas through the tour. But when we got back to Montreal, I think Chris was a huge artist in Canada. And I believe there were 2 nights at the Montreal Forum, not just one. But I remember, you're home now. The phones are ringing off the hook. I had to take it off. Everybody's calling. Of course, everybody wants tickets to see the show. They want to know how they can get in. And so the phones were off. But I remember going driving to the Forum and going, wow, this is pretty cool. Playing hometown crowd. So fast forward, they call for the house lights to go down. We're backstage. This massive black scrim in front of us. All the lights are down. They got the crew has got the mini mag lights, and they're taking us, or the mag lights, they're taking us up the steps to the stage level. And so we're all standing there, and I hear this massive roar. I peek from behind the scrim, and all you see is cigarette lighters lit up, and the roar of everybody screaming. And I pulled my drummer over and I said, Pete, take a look at this. And we peeked from behind the screen, and it's like, oh my God, this is crazy.
And it's all for you guys.
That was like all the hair standing on the back of your neck. And I thought my legs were shaking, like just going crazy. And I'm going, please don't let my legs shake. And I looked down, and my legs were perfectly still, but I had this thought in my head.
But inside,
my body was going
inside
crazy.
You were having a seizure. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, hometown, got out there, started to play, and it was just awesome. So that was one of my great recollections. Another one was, doing videos in the UK, playing the Budokan for, representing Canada in the World Popular Song Festival. I think it was 1986 in Tokyo. And that was pretty cool because out of all these submissions, How Many Rivers was chosen to participate. So that was pretty cool. Spent a week there, and it was very exciting.
It's incredible, huh?
Yeah.
So when you guys decided, you're going to move on to your own thing, what was that like? That's never easy.
It's never easy. You're right. It's like a marriage. I'm sure you've heard it before. Sometimes the bigger you get, and I've seen it in other bands as well.
Oh yeah,
very well-known bands, and then I know you know that as well. There comes a time where everybody goes their own way, and it just doesn't work anymore. In a strange kind of way, it was a great weight off my shoulders because I knew that it was time. I was put another project together before I came down here, and the group
hold that thought.
was called Rude. I think I lost you. There you go.
Yeah, just for a second there. Yeah,
just for a second.
So you said the group was
called Rude, RUDE, and it was with the drummer from Luba, and we found a singer and another guitar player and a bass player, and it was a really cool. It was the '80s hairband stuff, so it was kind of fun. I got to unleash a little more than I would have ever done with Luba, so that was kind of fun. And we went out and we were playing. We were putting an album together, so that was kind of interesting. Yeah, here we are.
Yeah. There you are.
There I am again. Gee.
You're not supposed to be freezing in Florida.
I know that. Yes.
But
that's why I don't understand this. I don't understand this. Yeah.
You freeze in Canada, but you don't freeze in Florida.
That's true. That's why I left Canada to begin with.
To get some warm going, right? Yeah.
Yes, or at least the thought of leaving to begin with. So
I hear no accent either.
it's gone away,
Just
after all these
completely.
years. Well,
Yeah.
every once in a while, somebody will tell me, "You're from Canada, eh?"
Hey,
I
yeah.
heard something that you said that made me think you're from Canada. Every once in a while, something will pop out. But all this time, I guess it kind of wore off. Um,
It's
the
incredible.
the gentleman I work with with Artists International all these years, Steve Green, who started the company around 83 or 84. He's from Long Island, so I think at some point I started to take on a
I
New
would have
York
said you're
accent.
from I would have if you said you were from New York or the tri-state area, I would
Right.
have said, "Absolutely, he is." He can tell you where all the hot dog places, good pizza, and bagel shops are.
Exactly. Well, I think after all these years, it kind of, it was a natural progression of my speaking voice to take on something like that. But
Plus,
um,
dealing with people from all around the world too,
sure,
on
yeah.
so many different levels. I wanted to mention too that the best is yet to come and let it go graced the
Mhm.
opening and closing credits of 9.5 weeks, starring Kim
Mhm.
Basinger and Mickey Rourke. That's quite an
Yeah,
honor, huh?
yeah, that was pretty cool. Actually, Grace Jones had done the vocal for "The Best Is Yet to Come," and I guess as it happened, the executive producer, music producer for that album, Stephen Powers, was with Capitol Records, and he had heard some demos that we had done. Somehow it had gotten to him, and he loved, what he heard. And Narada Michael Walden was, of course, doing the production for that song, and he had listened to some more demos or not demos, but actually working tapes that we were doing at the time for this next album, Between the Earth and Sky. And he wanted to get in on the mix with this here. So he decided he thought Luba's voice would be great for that song. And she went down and did the recording, did the vocal track on there. And he wanted to continue doing some of the work with us. So the record label said, "Yeah, you could work with him, but you can only do one song because it's going to cost way too much money for him to get involved in a much bigger way." So I know we were doing a New Year's Eve show in Vancouver. Um, I can't remember. I think it may have been 86. All this seems to have happened around that year, you know. But we were doing, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was 85. Hey, so many years ago. We were doing a New Year's Eve show.
He'll be back in a second.
Here we are.
So we're doing a New
I'm
Year's
still
Eve
here.
show.
We're
He's
doing a
there.
New Year's Eve show in Vancouver. Yeah, like I said, with David Foster, and it was pretty
Oh
cool.
yeah,
And
iconic
then we
David
flew. We flew
Foster. Yeah,
to. Yeah, quite a
mm,
genius.
he
Um,
really is.
and the next day we flew out to San Francisco to work with Narda on How Many Rivers. So that's how that came about. That album eventually became went soul platinum. So that was pretty neat. While in the studio, we were recording, his idea of how the song. The thing with that particular song is we recorded it a million different ways on our own back in Montreal, and we just were never happy with it. We arranged it 25 different ways from Sunday. We try it. It sounded good when we did it, and we'd go out and we play it. People liked it, but we come back and go, we're just not happy with this. We even did it in Tokyo, and it wasn't even the finished product of what eventually ended up with Narda producing it. So when we walked in there, we started from scratch, and he came over and he said, "Okay, here's what I think you guys should do." So he had a drum machine going. He went over to the bass player and he said, "You should try this." And he came over to me and he whispered in my ear, "Try this." And at the end of the day, we came out with a really R&B vibe for that song. It was really cool. And at the same time, he said, I think it'd be a great idea to have a sax solo on this track. We go, oh yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Never thought of that. So he says, come upstairs. I want to introduce you to somebody. So we go upstairs to this, there's another studio upstairs. It's a pre-production studio. And there's there's young guys, we were all young guys, sitting on the couch, long hair. And he says, I'd like to introduce you to Kenny Gorelick. And he's a great sax player. He's doing pre-production on his first album here. And I think it'd be great if you come in and do a sax solo. So, people call him Kenny G, by the way. So that was our first introduction to Kenny. And, to make a long story short, he went in, and the end result is he's got a great solo on that track. In the middle, like near, halfway through, and then he even does an outro outro solo. So it's pretty neat.
That's incredible, huh?
Yeah. So it was a great experience. It was a lot of fun working with Narada. He's just an amazing human being. He was supposed to be playing drums for Journey, I think, at some point at the end of the pandemic, and he's done so many amazing things. He's worked with so many amazing people. I got to meet him after that experience at Sting's house, and that's a whole nother story, which he came through.
That's a cool, yeah.
Working with.
We're happy to hear that one, Mark.
Yeah. Oh, I can sit here and tell you stories all day long, Jim. I don't know if this episode is not long enough. You'll probably need a bunch of episodes to go through the story.
Oh yeah,
they're a lot of fun.
Next time I'll come down to Florida when we're visiting family. We'll do it from there on the beach.
I'm with you. Anytime.
We'll do it earlier in the day.
Yes, absolutely.
With some banana coladas in front of us, or whatever it takes.
Yeah, we got a great place. So, just learning from him, which actually even translates to what I do now, even playing on the weekends with my band, Sacred Union, just understanding what things that I've learned from guys like him, great producers like him, producers like Daniel Lanois, who, you read off earlier about, the bands he produced, and just spending 3 months recording an album with him, just learning the ropes at an early age was pretty amazing, and it translates through your life to what I do today, which is a lot of fun too.
Tell us about Sacred Union and how that Sacred Union came together, because you guys have a really good sound, and you're like brothers on many levels. Tell us about it, because you're still doing your thing.
Sacred Union was formed out of a bigger band that we had started back in 2015 called B-Side Jones. It was an 8-piece horn band, so we had like 3 horns, and we had 5 pieces playing together. And we do a whole lot of funk, everything from James Brown to we put these songs together that we just throw horns into it, and it would be amazing. So we had a lot of fun with that. We played. We got to open for one of my bands, Molly Hatchet, that I represent, and another band called the Rippingtons, which was really cool.
The Rippingtons, really?
Yeah, Russ Freeman. Yeah, we were called in to do a festival, and I don't think the Rippingtons even realized we were going to be on that stage, because I don't think they would ever have approved an 8-piece band opening for them. So we were the middle band, and we were supposed to be the blues portion of the whole evening, and we didn't play blues. We weren't a blues band. We were a funk rock band, and we went out there and we punched a hole in everything. It was amazing. That's incredible. Went out and rocked everything. So we had a great time. We had a really good time. It was a big stage. It was like, they had the big screen, so it was a lot of fun. And eventually, things changed for a little while, and we decided to just kind of slim it down. It's easier to get shows that way. And so the 3 core members of the band, which were the singer, myself, and the bass player, we stayed together. We'd been together since, like I said, 2015, and we wanted to continue doing this. And we got a different drummer who was available. And and this is what we do. So we decided to call it Sacred Union, based on the fact that it's still the continued union of the three of us, and we hold things sacred in the world of music. So we have a lot of fun with it, and we just opened for the group Foghat back in last year, not just, but last May. We have a lot of fun. I think that.
How cool is that to open for Foghat, huh?
Yeah, that's one of the pictures you're showing. That was up in Port St. Lucie, so that was a lot of fun. So every once in a while, we get to do some really cool things.
Yeah, absolutely. Foghat's legendary. Some more great shots here. I'll be back in a second. Battery charging up. Welcome back.
Oh, yay!
You're sure you're not on a boat? You're not on a boat, are you? If not, you should. Maybe you should be.
A couple of weeks ago, I was on a boat with the Little River Band. That was
fun. So we're showing some shots here of you guys. Tell us about some of these cool things we're seeing here.
Yeah. Back. I think I'm back.
Yep, you're back. I think I can. Cool. I think I can.
So yes, and so that's the Sacred Union story. That's where it came from, and that's what with all the fun we had playing on the
That's so cool.
Yeah, keep it going.
Absolutely. How many different guitars do you play, Mark?
All at once? No.
Yeah, all at once. Yes, he's his own orchestra, and he does no overdubbing.
No overdubbing. It's all live. The funny thing is that I recently scaled down from, I think, 8 to 4. So I have a couple of electrics that I constantly use, and I have a guitar that was given to me by Lee Rocker of the Stray Cats. So I hang on to that. I work with Lee for.
I would do the same.
Yeah. So he graced me with a nice present, and so I keep that. And the other one is another guitar. It's a Fender Stratocaster reissue that I got from the Little River Band guys a while back, and so I hang on to that one as well.
Cool.
And those are the 4. I don't need. I was starting to. They use a term in the playing business. They call it gas. I'm not sure if you've ever heard that term.
Yeah.
It's called gear acquisition syndrome.
Yeah, sure.
I had gas for quite a while, and it started with little pedals, and it morphed into guitars and amplifiers and whatnot. And so I've gone through my gas phase. My better half doesn't have to see all the gear hanging around anymore. So it's just minimal amount of stuff that I have, and she doesn't bother me at all, which she's great.
She's great.
She is. Janice is terrific, and that's where I'm at. So I got 4 guitars now, and got my amps I use, and my giant pedal board.
Cool.
Yeah, and that's it. And it's just fun having just a fun time doing what I do on the weekends.
Absolutely right. And, we dug up a cool photo we have here that goes back a little bit. You and Bruce Springsteen. Tell us about this fantastic meeting of the minds here.
Yeah. Well, actually, I was sitting at the table with him and his wife, Patty. At that table was his manager, John Landau, and his crew. This is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony, March of 2005. My artist, Percy Sledge, or our artist for Artists International, Percy Sledge, the original voice of When a Man Loves a Woman, was being inducted that year by Rod Stewart. And that was pretty cool. So we were all sitting at the table together, and Bruce was busy scribbling his induction speech on paper. I guess he was doing finishing touches. He was inducting U2 that evening. So at one point I said, "Hey," being the fan, could I get a picture with you? And he said, absolutely, absolutely, you can do that. So his manager, John, handed the camera over to his assistant, said, I can't remember her name, take a picture of these guys. So
And take it now quickly.
Absolutely. So I have a picture, that's the picture. And I have another picture of Roger Waters was actually sitting right behind me.
Really?
And I turned around and I wanted to ask him that $64,000 question at that point. Will Pink Floyd reunite? But I didn't. So I kept my mouth shut. I didn't say anything, but I did ask him, would you mind taking a shot with me, a photo with me? And he said, absolutely. So there was a photo that I do have with Roger Waters as well. That was kind of neat for me too.
Isn't that awesome?
So that's where that came.
I mentioned too that you are, managing partner, VP with AIM Worldwide, Artists International Management. Tell us how the talent manager, the agent, how all of that came to be for you. That was like around what, 90s, in the 90s,
92.
I think? 92?
Yeah, 92. Yeah.
When you moved from Montreal to Hollywood, Florida, starting the career management and booking?
I had a friend of mine in Montreal who was a freelance writer, and I told him I was thinking of moving to Florida, and he said, give this guy a call. And I said, well, who is he? He said, his name is Steve Green, and he runs a company called Artists International. And I said, how do you know him? He said, well, he books Peter Criss from Kiss, and I needed to speak to him about arranging an interview. So why don't you give him a call? So I picked up the phone and I figured, well, this is a long shot by any means. And funny enough, he actually picked up the phone and he answered and he said, Artists International, this is Steve Green. And I said, oh, Mr. Green. So I had this conversation with him about who I was, what I did, and he was intrigued. He said, I'd really like to meet you. I want you to, if you can come down, I'd like to meet you and see what we can do together. And so I immediately hopped on a plane. I called my mom, who was a partner in a travel agency, and I said, "Guess what?
You got to convenient that is
right now.
Book me, book him, Dano.
Yes. When you want to leave? Right now.
Right now.
So, right now." So she got me a ticket. I flew down to Florida, and I met with Steve, and we had a great chat. And a little while later, we talked again on the phone, and he said, "I'd really like you to come and work with me." And I said, "Okay." We talked, what needed to happen, and I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm doing this." So, okay, here we go. So I went back home and, sold my car, sublet my apartment.
All the things everybody does, right?
And packed everything up and flew down and started working. And that's really, in a nutshell, how there's more detail to it, but I don't need to talk details. But the bottom line is, it happened very, very quickly. He asked me, how soon can you start? And I said, well, he says, could you start like in 3 weeks? I go, yeah, I can start in 3 weeks. And that's when all hell broke loose. And I come back home and everything is like in fast forward, everything's in fast motion. And
seems like that's been an element or a theme in your life, where these opportunities have some sort of come your way and you've had to act quickly and run with them and make the best of them, which is really cool. It's extraordinary.
I got to tell you, Jim, I'm a firm believer now, and I have been for a long time, that there's a reason for everything happening the way it does.
The people you meet,
you may never know. Just meeting somebody that has nothing to do with anything, maybe comes into your life, and the next thing you know, you're somewhere else. Your life has changed. So I'm a great believer in fate and things happening the way they're supposed to happen. That just the smallest little detail can change the tide of your life.
Absolutely right.
And that's what happened to me.
And I knew when I was 11 that I was going to meet you these years later on the Jim Masters show.
See?
Didn't you know that too?
Well, somewhere along the line, somebody by the name of Donna Nolan Wilson came into my life.
And bang, there you go. The rest is...
Thank you, Donna.
Right. The rest is absolute, right, history from there. Really cool stuff, when you think about it all, and the people that you've had an opportunity to work with and still work with today. Matter of fact, we are actually pulling up, just showing people some of the roster of people that you guys represent, which I think is so cool. Little River Band, John Waite, Pablo Cruz, Molly Hatchet, Vanilla Ice, Voices of Classic Rock, Ambrosia, the Texas Tenors, Firefall, the Babies, Radio, of course, Black Oak, Arkansas, John Ford Coley, Zebra, Bertie Higgins, Bucky Covington, and of course, Sacred Union, Artists International Management, just to name a few here. These are fantastic artists. John Waite, Little River Band, as we mentioned. Cool stuff, huh? Is that a yes?
No, we lost each other, Jim. I'm back.
You disappeared again. You know what it was? It took your breath away when you were reminded of all the incredible people that you're working with. Just took your breath away.
It took my breath away, and I just.
But how cool is that? I mean, some of and of course, they're all welcome to join us here at the Jim Masters Show Live Series at any time. Feel free to spread the word. But I mean, what is it like for folks who aren't sure how it works? Booking and management and talent agent and all of these things. How does it all work from your perspective? Because everybody has a different way they do it. Everybody has a different relationship, and it really is all about relationships, isn't it?
It is. The nice thing about it, and even over the years, I've remained friends, if you want to call it like friendly acquaintances with all the artists that I've worked with. It's
incredible.
It doesn't matter who it is. I still talk to Mickey Thomas. I still talk to Phoebe Lewis, Jerry Lee Lewis's daughter. Just spoke to Fred Turner from Bachman Turner Overdrive. These are all people that came into my life, and we still have contact with these. Some of them, unfortunately, we've lost over the years, who are not with us any longer. Jerry Lee being one of them. Percy Sledge, who was my dear. Percy was something else. He was, when I first started with AIM, the nice connection between Percy and I is we recorded a live version. We did a show in Montreal, Luba, at a place called the Spectrum, which was a beautiful 1,000-seater venue with recording facilities in there. So we recorded a show for the local TV station. And during that show, one of the songs that we recorded, which was part of our repertoire at the time, was When a Man Loves a Woman, which sold gold in Canada as a single. So bringing that to the table, Percy and I connected on that level immediately. And I was like, wow, this is so weird, because we're talking about fate and things that happen. Here I am now working with this gentleman who's like an icon. They call him the king of slow soul. And I really learned from him. I learned what he was all about. I just got to understand him. And I took on a managerial role for him because I did most of his bookings, and he had a lot of bookings overseas. So that was my area of expertise, talking, to people in France, because I can speak French, or in Belgium, and doing shows in Germany and Southwest Africa and the islands and the Netherlands. And it was just something that was so wonderful for me to be involved with a person like that, that we talked every couple of days. I booked his shows. I negotiated his backing bands wherever he would play, because I'd have a pool of bands from different areas. So I was able to call this one up and go, okay, so Percy's playing at this venue. Are you available? Yes. And this would happen like throughout the entire United States and even overseas. So I got to know the bands that I'd be able to work with for Percy and set these whole things up. I'd arrange his flights. I'd make sure he was picked up. So it was a very hands-on kind of thing for me. It wasn't just negotiating his contracts. I've negotiated his record deals. I've pretty much taken care of him until, unfortunately, he passed in 2014, I believe. So from 92 to that point. But we did a lot of cool things together. We had such amazing, he was, again, inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, being there with him. Sting's house, I mentioned, he was invited to participate in Sting and Trudy Styler's project of Save the Rainforest Foundation benefits, which I'm sure you've heard of. And all the heavyweights were involved in that, whether it was Elton John, Billy Joel, James Taylor, Sting. Those were the four main people. So we were invited to go and participate and be part of that event that was at Carnegie Hall, and they were doing it back then every year. So people that were there were Stevie Wonder and Macy Gray and all these amazing. Narada Michael Walden was the musical director that year. So how cool was that? I got to see him. I got to, we reconnected. So here I now managing Percy from years before, where I was in Luba recording with him. So that was a pretty awesome thing. So that was something for me. That was a wonderful experience. And again, we were very friendly with his family, my family, and it was a nice thing to be part of.
So cool. And that's not just that's really the short list, because
That's the short
to
list.
mention some of the folks: Percy Sledge, Sly and the Family Stone, Jerry Lee Lewis, Little River Band, Dr. Hook, Starship, Survivor, ELO, Electric Light Orchestra, Part 2, Bachman Turner Overdrive, Kansas, Brian Howe, former lead singer of Bad Company, Fleetwood Mac, Firehouse, Pablo Cruz, Color Me Bad, Pat Travers, Ambrosia. I mean, it's Blackfoot, Atlanta Rhythm Section, The Ventures. It's Vanilla Ice. I mean, talk about an eclectic mix of great talents, huh?
Yes, and all these people are just so wonderful. They were so nice to deal with. The one thing that was really great about what we were doing is we didn't have to deal with management. Very, very few artists that you mentioned, if any, had managers. But for the most part, we pick up the phone and I'd speak to whoever it was, whether it was Mickey or whether it was continues to be Wayne Nelson of Little River Band. I mean, we know each, since 1996. We speak to each other all the time. We go on these cruises together. So, I handle all the day-to-day business in terms of bookings for Little River Band. And that's the beauty of it. I actually had firsthand contact with these people. When I first started working there in 92, we were booking Dr. Hook, so I was speaking to Ray Sawyer. We were booking Pat Travers, who I loved, as a guitar player, talking to Pat, talking to Rick Derringer, who was another influence of mine, Texas blues, fantastic. I love that stuff. I was talking, I think I even had Edgar Winter on that list, Edgar Winter for a number of years. So he was my first concert at 50 years old at the Montreal Forum, watching him during They Only Come Out at Night, the Frankenstein tour. So how cool is that? That to me was like, I'm with all these guys that I grew up listening to, and now I'm getting to talk to them and I'm getting to work with them and kind of direct their career, at least live musically, to go out and do shows. How do you beat that? That was like, when we talk about fate and we talk about being in the right place at the right time, I'm bucket listed. I'm done, pretty
Yeah.
much, you know.
So, since you're guiding their careers and getting them gigs and booking and
Mhm.
managing the talent, what are some things you've learned in that role that maybe you would have applied to yourself early on when you were coming up the ranks? Is there anything that what's cool about it is you've been there, you've done it. So when you're relating to the clients, um, you're not just somebody that's in an office in a suit talking on the phone. You've been there. You've been on the road. You've toured. You've worked with everybody. You're a musician yourself and a performer and a songwriter. So you come from the business and talent side of it all. So it's a great blend for the clients. They know when they tell you certain things about it all, the ups and downs, the craziness, you get it because you've been there. Are there any things that you've learned being involved in that end of it, the management end, booking end, that maybe you wish you knew when you were 18?
Probably all of it.
Well,
you know? Of course, working in this business many, many times, I've said to myself, I wish I knew then what I know now. Would that have made a difference? Maybe, because when you're young, you don't, you're influenced by other things.
yeah.
And if I was me then of what I know now, I would probably be stirring up too much stuff,
What would you say to that guy?
I'd say, you got to listen to what I'm telling you, because what you're saying is, listen. I think we took too much for granted when we're young, and that's what most people do. I wish I could go back and experience things differently. Although I loved what I did,
Yeah.
you look at a picture like that, you can see it. It's like, I'm having a great time.
You're having a great time.
But I wish I had the understanding business wise. I can turn back and go, we never had great management, which was so, and I think that was a big problem. So you look at it from a different perspective later on, and I just know that, again, coming back to it, I wish I knew then what I know now. But in answer to your question, I'm a very easy guy to get along with. A lot of agents of the old school, they're easy to get along with to some respect. I've seen a lot of agents slam phone downs on people, the phone down on people. I've learned things through the years that is not me as an agent, and I always wanted to be. I always wanted to do my best and continue creating, relationships, business relationships with people through the years, and keep the doors open. I've never been an aggressive. I was never the aggressive agent to just, it's like, my way or the highway, take it or leave it. I was never that way. I was always about keeping the line of communication open and negotiating the best deal you can for your artist without you trying to muscle somebody or threaten somebody. And I've heard stories over the years of how, like, if you want this artist from my roster, you have to take that artist. I was never about that. I was always just having good, solid business relationships with the buyers and the talent agents and the promoters. And I think I've done a great job over the years. I have conversations with a promoter that will call me up just to have a conversation. Hey, Mark, just calling to see how you're doing. It's maybe not even about business. Just check in. How are you doing? I do the same. How are you? How's the family? How's life? Of course, there is some discussion about, where we could put this band or that band at some point. But it's really nice to be able to do that, and at the same time, do the best you can for your artists. Because I learned that early. That was one of the things that I learned from Steve. um, he said, we work for the artists. What I did learn, though, you have to make sure you're always working for your artists, but yet you have to communicate in a good way with the talent buyers, with the promoters, talent buyers,
the venues and all of it,
venues,
the media, all of it. Yeah,
exactly. It's exactly right. So you have to you can't be one way and not the other. You have to be able to balance both and do that in a good way. And like I said, I have a lot of people out there, that I've been doing business with for years, and we still continue to do it. Maybe 30 years later. So it's really about being able to do business on a good level and feel good about it.
I just want to let folks know that it is really amazing that he was able to somehow, it's kind of cool because it's almost as if he's in some sort of a video that's like from the 80s that's sort of got an industrial look, because it's like your shirt, the chair, everything, the door, the walls are like all the same color, the way it's lit. And it's really incredible.
Okay.
It's like you're in a music video on MTV from the 80s, a really cool industrial feel. He originally, believe it or not, as I mentioned, platinum and gold selling talent here we're talking to, was in a room that had all of that on the walls. But because of the Wi-Fi craziness there, he had to move into a whole other part of the house. So, there are those that are hanging on the wall there. When you look at that, I mean, the gold and platinum selling those records, that's got to be kind of nice and provide some little contentment, huh? Job well done.
It does. It's it's they hang there. I don't notice them
because they've been there so long. Yeah.
But the nice thing is when somebody comes in and goes, wow, it's like, wow. It's like, okay, yeah. I much prefer watching other people's reactions
to it, right?
To it, and not just that, just reactions in general to everything that I do.
Yeah.
It's more my take on what's this person thinking? What's that person thinking? Can I get a reaction out of that person? What do I need to do that? Whether I'm on stage or whatever. It's always fun to see somebody else's reaction to things, and that's why, the gold, the albums that are hanging there they're there for a reason. We did what we did. We earned it. I've earned it. We spent, and I spent, a good part of my life learning my craft, and didn't want to walk away from it too early, but knew when it was time, it was time. But at the same time, I earned that. And that's, even if that's as small as that might be in the life of somebody's life, it's there. It's just, it's an accomplishment, but I don't really, I don't go look at it every day and go, wow, I got gold, platinum. But I don't think anybody does.
Come on. Not even once in a while. Come on.
Not even there, I was more
as you're
happy
dusting, with the Windex on the glass part.
Watch that. You missed a spot.
You missed a spot there.
I was more happy to get them for my, I got them from my dad. Like when I was able to order, like back then, I had his name on there. It's like I gave him every time we'd get something, I'd give him one. So I was more happy about giving the gift than what I was looking at over
other people, the family, and for them to see the success, because they know the blood, sweat, and tears and the toil and what it takes.
It was a lot.
For them to say, our son made good is, I'm sure, very proud moments, huh?
Yeah, it was,
and that's the best.
It was a nice time in my life. It was. What do they say? It was the best of times, and then it was the worst of times. The worst of times.
Are you still songwriting too?
I'm sorry?
Are you still songwriting?
I'm writing for the band. I've written a couple of songs. I just don't have the time. I wish I did, between what I do, during the day with business. It takes a lot. It's a lot. And when I come home, I'm spent. We'll go out to eat and take a walk down, to the village, or walk down to the beach and hang out.
How about writing for other artists?
You know what? I was I was thinking about doing that early on, a number of years ago. I actually was set up to meet somebody from another band in Toronto, and we met, but nothing really came of that. I have all these ideas put aside. They're all on tape. They're all
there,
scribbled on. I just, if I did this, if this was a full-time thing, I know I'd be writing a lot more.
Yeah.
But
you're already so busy, the plate's so full.
It's busy. Yeah. I just want to have time to be able to relax and go and play. And that's really where it's at. I was just talking to my bass player today, and we're talking about, original material. And he says, yeah, it'd be good to get a couple of more songs in the hopper. And I said, yeah, I got some ideas. I actually got some almost finished songs. So we'll see what happens with that. It's,
you also work with Ricky Medlock. He was a guest on our show as well.
Yeah.
We had an awesome time with him. He played live, got the guitar going and everything. What's it like working with him?
Well, I worked with Ricky more or less on the Blackfoot project.
Right.
Which, he was. I remember going to his studio in Fort Myers.
Right.
Over. Yeah, we went over and heard. This was when there was a new formation of the band. So got to talk with him a little bit and got to go to a couple of Skinner concerts. Donna does most of the work with Ricky. Ricky's an amazing guitar player. He's an awesome person. He's a wonderful person. I've seen some of his interviews. I think I may have even watched him with you. And I've always liked Ricky. He's got a great attitude, and just listen to some of the old Blackfoot records. It's like, wow.
Incredible, huh?
So
super talent.
Yes. Yeah.
Is there anything, what's on the bucket list? What are some things that you still want to do that are there? Because you've done so much and continue to, Mark. What are some things that you have out there that you're like, gee, it would be kind of cool at some point when I do have a plate that isn't as full. I'd like to tackle that, or I'd like to do this.
I think I'd like to take a trip back to Japan.
Nice.
And do that. My when I moved, I didn't take my battery.
Your battery is dying out.
So could you give me just like 30 seconds?
It happens. It happens to all the guests almost. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
Absolutely. They get to see that cool chair. Now, is that a VIP? Is that VIP? Yes, but does that look like a vice president's chair or what? VP of AIM Worldwide, Artists. Yeah, worldwide.
Well, there we go.
Artists International Management. I said that they got a chance to see the chair, and it does look like the chair of a managing partner of a VP.
Well, it should. It really should.
Absolutely. We've had, many times where guests have had to get up to, maybe a kid runs in the room, or the dog jumps in, or the cat comes in, or they got to plug things in, and we see the chairs. So I've said,
okay. Well, at least it's a nice chair.
It's a cool chair. We've seen leather couches, all kinds of things from the guests. And I said, one day we're going to do an episode where we just edit shots of all of the guests' chairs and have the viewers guess, which guest on the Jim Masters show sat in that chair.
Well, now you have a shot of this chair. You have a shot of this chair, so that could be added.
Kathleen in New York City says, "What a nice chair." She loves the She loves the chair. Isn't that cool?
Thank you, Kathleen. It's a nice compliment. Thank you.
And you are beloved in the business and well respected. And you were mentioning if there's other things in addition that you would want to possibly take on or that you would love to do.
Well, I'm always looking for new artists.
And we'll hold on that. So he's looking for new artists. He's giving it some thought. He's really thinking about it. You're thinking about it, aren't you? You were giving it some thought.
There you go. I'm giving it a lot of thought.
Yeah.
So as I was saying, I love the business of music, and like I said, Artists International, we're always looking for new talent, even if it's an older talent. It's exciting to me. Every day is a different day. That's what I love about the business. It's never like going to work and you're going to have the same thing the next day. It's usually, there's so many things that can happen in the course of the day. You don't know what's going to drop into your lap. So that's another thing that's really the beauty of this business. You never know what's going to happen. And for me, it's kind of like an adventure. I'm blessed to have had to be able to stay in the music business, because a lot of people that I know that were even friends from back in Montreal, this one went into the real estate business, this one went to work for this one went to work for that one, and I'm just so lucky to be in the music business because of my love for it. It's in my DNA. And I'm so happy to be continuing to do what I do and work with such amazing artists, and to be working with them for so many years. Little River Band is the case in point. They've been with us longer than any band. They've been with us, and I'm not saying that because some of the artists that I mentioned had passed away. But in terms of the continuation, they're fantastic. This is a fantastic band. Vocally, they're amazing. We just did a cruise. Alan Parsons said they're the best band on this cruise. So getting a big thumbs up from him was something. And I just love working with these guys. They're terrific. They play amazing shows, and it's unbelievable. So
isn't that cool? That's so cool. Yeah.
And then, I've worked with Molly Hatchet through the years. I worked with John Wade. These are amazing artists. Everybody on the roster, Pablo Cruz, and everybody that I've worked with through the years and still keep in touch with. It's a nice feeling. It's a good vibe. I just spoke to Lee Rocker not too long ago from the Stray Cats. I'll get a text, "Hey Mark, how you doing? Let's catch up. When can we talk?" So that's always a good part of the business, and to continue with relationships and enjoying what you do. I'm lucky.
I was going to say, what are some of those blessings and joys in your life that keep you in the business? Because it is a crazy business on many levels, but it can be very rewarding. It can be time consuming. It's got its ups and downs, but it can be really extraordinary as well. What are some of those blessings and joys in your own life that keep you forging forward with it all?
Well, I have a great woman in my life. I have a wonderful daughter in my life. I've got good people that surround me. I just love, where I am. Living in Florida is so different than living in Montreal, because first of all, the weather. The weather is really great here.
What's it like today? 85?
Beautiful. No, it was probably around 80, in the high 70s. You guys have got winter. We're still in what they call winter.
Our family down there was saying that. I know.
Yeah,
they're saying it's like in the upper 70s, 80s. It's nippy. I'm like, nippy.
It's beautiful. It's really a nice change to the extreme heat. But the difference between living in Canada and here living in Montreal, and here's the weather change. Weather changes people, changes their attitudes. Mm-hmm. I remember so many years living in Canada, people were, the weather makes you feel really like, I don't know, just kind of not in a great spirit. And you come down here and you go, it's raining today. Big deal. Tomorrow will be beautiful.
It, right? When we go down, I'm always alive when I go there. The sky is, it's beautiful where we are here in the Northeast, in the New York, New England area. We're on the ocean along the coast here. Really beautiful. But when it's summertime or whatever, and you go to Florida and the sun is so blue, the clouds seem like they're hanging lower. You don't want to be in your house. You want to be outside. You want to be active. You want to be physically active. You want to be doing things. Every time we
Exactly.
go to visit family, friends, or I'm on TV projects or something, I'm always like, this is, like it's like vitamin D,
Yeah.
all the good
I
things.
used to come off the plane from Montreal. I used to come down here, come off the plane, and you could smell the air is different.
Yeah, the
And I'm like,
sea
all
air.
this,
And I'm an ocean
yeah,
person myself, so I love,
you
I'm in it
smell
all the
that,
time.
and
Yeah,
the switch goes off,
yeah.
and you're like in a different mode all of a sudden,
Well,
immediately.
I'm headed up to Edmonton, Canada for 2
Ooh,
TV shoots, and the shoots were booked in like late December, early January. I was in Napa Valley in January in California. It was fantastic. But then there was word that there were going to be these 2 back-to-back TV projects in Edmonton. Be the first time there in Edmonton. And I said, well, if there's any way that we don't go in January, February, and even the people that are up there that we're going to be seeing and filming and all, they're like, do not come here with the crew in January and February. Come, so we're
yeah.
actually going to be going in late March, early April. And they said just the difference between late March, early April and going in like January and early February is
It's huge.
tremendous. It's
It's huge.
huge.
It's
Yeah.
huge. I remember on that Krista Berg tour, we left, I believe it was March, early March of 83, 1983. And we were going across Canada. It's brutal. It is so brutal. You're in the plain, the western plains area of Canada. You're in the Alberta, Saskatchewan area. There's flatlands. There's nothing there, and it's freezing. And I remember I think we broke down. This is what our first. We were in a van, and the band decided the band decided to give us a really big hiccup, and I
It's
think
like
the
a movie,
tranny.
right? In a
Oh, it
van,
was
nobody
in a
around. It's
yeah,
like a Twilight Zone
nobody around.
episode.
I have a picture somewhere in one of the photo albums of the equipment truck and the van, and it's like we're in the middle of nowhere. So we had to have the van towed, and we got a van
How long did it
in the
take for the
city.
tow truck driver to get there?
It took quite a long time. But what happened was the drummer and I, we were hitching a ride. We were in the middle of nowhere. Got to go back to the city that was, not far from where we were. So, and we're hitchhiking, of course. And then the drummer decides, "Oh, I'm not doing this. You do it, Mark." So here I am by myself hitching a ride back. I get into this city called Swift Current, Saskatchewan, and I make a call. I get these nice people who happen to be from Montreal, believe it or not, in the middle of nowhere, and they took me to this place. We got a tow truck, a record to come and take the van. People were very nice there. It was great. They knew of they didn't know the name of the band at that point, but they knew the name of the song every time I see her picture. So everybody's going, "Oh my God, oh my God." So there was a Ford dealership. The guy who owned it, I think this was on a Sunday or something, everything was kind of closed up. And he came and he gave us a van from his fleet. He said, "Here's the van. You guys take it. When you come back, just drop it off." So I mean, it was a crazy episode of, like you said, like a movie. So yes, don't go there in the dead of winter because you will not be happy.
That's incredible. Yeah, so we're going to be going later March, early April. I'm just
Good.
looking at the it's really amazing how your entire room, your shirt, everything is that sort of greenish color. It's amazing.
Oh.
You look like you're on an episode of like CSI or something.
Well, like I said, my better half chose my shirt because
But
if it
the
was
way
me, I
the
was going to.
lighting is, even the walls, the chair, the file cabinet, everything's the same color.
Yeah, well, Janice chose my shirt and she said, "Wear that, you look good in it." And I said, "Okay," but I didn't expect everything to be colored like this year, that I would be in this room
It's kind of
because we were
cool.
in
I
the
don't know
we
how,
were in the other. Yeah, so I think it really did turn out cool looking.
it could just the way it worked out, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
this is my vibe for this interview. Maybe the next time
It's
we get
very
together,
cool. It's
we'll have
mellow.
something different.
It's a lovety vibe for sure.
Lovity, yeah, it's a
Lovety
lovity thing.
vibe.
It's my vibe right now. I'm just
Then love
chilling, relaxing, and talking to Jim Masters. That's cool.
inside the song says a little bit like Star Trek. Maybe it does
Oh,
look like you
is
are in an episode of
is,
Star Trek. Maybe
is
then
that Donna?
a little bit
Yeah,
of yeah. He's
a
going
little
to
bit.
you'll be the one that beams us out.
Beam me up, Scotty.
That's it.
I got to do
So
an
I wanted
accent.
to show you. There's somebody that pops in towards the latter part. Everybody smiles when we show this. I just wanted to say a quick hello. Mr. George Burns is with us.
Oh, hey George, how are you?
He's
Love
look
the
at his cool.
glasses.
He's got the cigar, the red hanky.
Nice.
He pops in
Hey,
my.
what you talking about?
Oh, what you're joking about.
Yeah,
My
this is
aunt
those things.
collected dolls. Believe it or not, I mean,
Wow.
really expensive collector
Mhm.
dolls. And as I mentioned multiple times on this show, had a room in her house in Connecticut that was just designated for all these real collectible dolls. This is one of them. So this got passed down to me. He pops in and he's sort of like the associate producer. He hangs down below here with his cigar and his martini, checking things out, making sure everything is working out according to plan. And he thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. He got some
Cool.
cool
Does
vibes.
he give you the thumbs up or thumbs down? Does
Now,
do
he
that
won't
kind of-
release the
No?
cigar. It's just,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
I
hope
give
he
the
doesn't burn
thumbs
his
up.
fingers. I'll give the thumbs up too. Oh, 2 thumbs up. All right.
Two thumbs
Nice,
up
George.
for George Burns, right?
George. Yes,
He's always
sir.
looking so dapper. So I tell you, this
He's
guy
always
Bye,
pops
George.
in.
Enjoy the cigar.
That's it.
awesome.
This was fantastic, Mark. Really a pleasure
Yeah.
meeting you and
Oh,
an honor.
pleasure's mine.
I mean, you're an icon in the music industry, and here you are. You've done your thing, still do your thing, Luba and everything else. But and even with the gold and platinum records on the wall, you have this desire to want to mentor and guide others who are living the dream, wanting to live the dream, and pursue their passions and share their voice through their music and through their talent, as you've done for decades as well in various incarnations. And it's a cool thing. You're paying it forward.
Yes.
You could have just rested on the success that you've had and the notoriety and everything else with the records on the wall and all, but you just have this passion for the industry, for music in general, and for the art of entertainment and performance and connecting and reaching people and showing others how you can guide them to hopefully achieve some of that themselves. It's a cool thing you're doing. You're in that sweet spot, aren't you there?
Yeah. Like I said earlier, I'm blessed that I got to have 2 lives that revolve around the music business and the business of music. So
Absolutely
I'm a
right.
very, very lucky individual.
On many levels, and we're lucky
Yes.
to have you here. And
Thank you.
we are, as I say all the time on the show, we'll keep the porch light on for you. You're welcome back anytime. Spread the word about the Jim Masters Show Live series, and hope the show met whatever expectations you had, and you enjoyed the time with me as much as I absolutely have with you, Mark.
Oh, absolutely. It was a lot of fun. It's been a while since I've done an interview like this, but I had a great time. And anytime you want me back, Jim, call my agent, Donna Wilson. I'm kidding. Yeah, anytime. I'm happy to talk to you and maybe talk about other stories we hadn't touched on this time.
Yeah, and like I said, when I was chatting with you before we went live, it's we make it conversational. This is sort of hearkening. It was actually a number of guests that have said, sort of bringing back the lost art of conversation, not even in the typical interview style, but more conversational, kind of like the Dick Cavett, the Johnny Carson, Regis, Merv, Mike Douglas, some of those legendary presenters and hosts, and with a modern vibe and twist to today. So I think it's cool. Some great comments coming in too. Jan Klein says, great show. Thank you, Jan. I appreciate that. Welcome to the Jim Masters. Yes. Welcome to yeah.
My
You're going to say, we love it. That's a great profile photo she got there as well. Jan Klein, she's a lovety.
Yeah.
Everybody's a lovety. They already said you're a lovety, so that's kind of cool.
I love Janice. I love jazz. I do.
Exactly right.
Yes.
Christine says, thanks, Jim and Mark, for this wonderful conversation. Fascinating stories. Mark is so talented and sure he's had a fantastic career. Mark's a rockin' lovety. I love that.
Ah,
Christine's in North Carolina. Kathleen in New York City. Thank you, Mark, for being here. Enjoyed this conversation. I'm a very interactive host, and even in my work in TV and radio, I like interactivity and bringing people in. She really loved the conversation.
wow.
That's really awesome. Thanks for all these great
Thanks,
comments
Kathleen.
inside the song.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. It was great. I learned a lot of things I didn't know. I've had that happen many times with people who come on the show and elsewhere that I do. And they're like, they may even be the relative of the guest. And they're like, I learned stuff I didn't even know about. And I'm like, that's cool.
Surprise.
That is the bonus.
Yes, it is.
She says,
It
love you,
is.
Mark, which is cool. And there were some earlier ones too from some fantastic people that were saying hi earlier, like Missy and the MTs, Luba Rocks, and
Cool.
mentioned songs too, Scarlet Letter, Raven's
Oh
Eyes.
my God.
Look these
Yeah.
songs up. Awesome.
I co-wrote some of those. Yep, I did. Raven's Eyes. Yeah, nice. Scarlet Letter. That's awesome.
Joan was sending her
I gotta
love.
listen to those songs again. I haven't
Again.
heard those songs in a long time.
Missy and the MTs she's in Montreal.
Cool.
Yeah,
Hi,
right.
Missy.
Right there in Montreal. And
Awesome.
Lisa here and just all these great folks that are here. Appreciate
Nice.
everybody. Good
That's
stuff.
awesome.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Love this.
Yeah.
You're the
Terrific.
best. You're welcome back anytime. Again, spread the word about our show. We would love that. It takes
Absolutely
a village.
will.
This
Yes.
episode will be archived on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. So the YouTube link, you can share it from the channel onto social media or whatever, have
Will
people
do.
watch it, enjoy it. And yeah, let's do this again, either this here
Absolutely.
or we'll get down to
Whenever you
Florida and do
want.
it by the ocean.
Let's do it.
Cake by the ocean, as the
Cake
Jonas
by the
Brothers,
ocean.
as
Yeah,
Joe Jonas
absolutely.
says.
Yes, I'm here for you. Whenever you want to call, I'm back at you here.
I love that. Wow. Just
Yeah.
like
Love what
a,
you do too, Jim. Love what you're doing. It's great. It's really nice. It's a great vibe.
I appreciate that very much. My father, this audience has heard this a few times, but my father, you'll appreciate this, what you're doing. Ever since we were kids, my father, with his continued wit and wisdom, would always give us these like adult nuggets for us as kids. And one of them that still sticks with me today is, he said, whenever anybody says something kind or nice to you, Jim. And again, the first time I heard this from him was like 9 years old, and still says it. Whenever anybody says something kind or nice, ask them to please put that in writing and address it management.
Your father was a very smart man.
That's
Absolutely.
it. Jim Sr.
get that.
taught well.
Yeah.
He taught well. Chip off the old block. Thanks,
Yes,
Mark.
sir.
I appreciate it.
Anytime, Jim. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. I'm glad
Now
that
you-
we spent a little time.
Me too. You going to make a sandwich now?
I'm going to see if I can get something to eat. See if Janice will make me something to eat.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, you be well. Thanks for all the time
too.
and all the great stories. Again, tremendous, and really appreciate your sharing and your authenticity and your kindness, Mark. Really a pleasure. And we'll chat again soon, okay?
Absolutely, Jim. Thanks very much for having me on.
You be well. Cheers.
You too. Take care.
Take care now. Comparable guest, huh? Mark Lyman, special guest here, gracing us with his wit and wisdom on our stages here at the Jim Masters Show live series. Recording artist, gold and platinum selling recording artist. He's very humble about it, but it's well earned. He's got all those albums. Guitarist for Sacred Union Band, songwriter extraordinaire, talent manager, agent, Vice President of AIM Worldwide, Artists International Management, managing some of the great artists of our time. And also was lead guitarist with the rock band Luba, and one of the founding members of Luba as well. And we had a lot of people commenting about Luba, remembering the great music. All that's still out there. You can get all of the music that we're talking about, but just to have the opportunity to go back in time a little bit and hear some of the stories of the formation of Luba. Fantastic Canadian rock band, beloved around the world. And, how it all got started and the reason for it. And then, of course, Sacred Union as well, and the great music there. And, of course, his background, too. We're talking about, I think he was saying like 45 years plus in the industry, and still loving it, still doing his thing. It's really cool. He gets to still do the work as a musician and then manages others. Cool story with the Bruce Springsteen shot, right? And there he is in the early years as his star started to really shine, and he was a rising star at that time. And great stories about how some of these cool things came his way. You know what I mean? He's humbled about it, but sheer talent and tenacity and, really loving what you're doing. And then those people that are in higher positions notice that, or other colleagues notice those kinds of things, and they want to work with you. And that's a beautiful thing. And he's had that happen multiple times in his life where these opportunities came. And you know what he did? He didn't run from them. He ran towards them and seized them, which is cool. And that's why he's so great at being able to mentor others in the music industry. I mean, top tier talent and those who are just starting out as well. AIMrocks.com. We've been showing that. That's a website. You see some of the artists that they rep, which is incredible. And also we threw up the sacredunionband.com site too. You can see some of their cool things as well. Really great when you get a chance to have conversations like this with terrific guests like Mark Lyman, originally Canada, now in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. Not too shabby. Kathleen, thank you very much. We appreciate that. Gang, if you would like to see this episode again, or you joined us late, or you just want to, kick back and maybe you missed something, or you just enjoyed it so much you want to see it again, it's right here on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. Matter of fact, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of episodes of our series. All of them are there for your binge watching pleasure. Don't forget to give this episode a like. There is a thumbs up icon on this episode and all the episodes on our YouTube channel. Give us a like, drop a comment in the comment section on our YouTube channel, and also subscribe to the YouTube channel. It doesn't cost anything. Help us grow, help us shine. Click subscribe. We would really love that. And thanks to everybody who has clicked subscribe. Doesn't cost anything. We see all the new subscribers, thousands of them, and we earn every single one. We do it organically. We do it authentically. We do it the old-fashioned way. Every person comes in because they want to. And some people don't do it that way, but that's how we do it. We want people to subscribe to our channel and view our episodes who really want to be here. Maybe you stumble on us because of a guest, or me from my work on television and radio and stage and film, or you just peruse in the dial there on YouTube and you found this series and you kind of like what we're doing. Well, you're welcome to be here. Join us anytime you want. Again, you can always have a binge watch party and you can check out the previous episodes. Some of the people we talked about today have been guests on our show. And we've got so many more people. The amount of shows we've done and the content consistently day after day after day is amazing. And for the length of time, like here, it's almost 2 hours that we've talked. A lot of content, a lot of goodness that we've shared here with all of you. And thanks for all the comments. If you ever want to support us when the show is on and airing, there's super chat, super emoji, super stickers. That's in the JMS Lovely Hall chat room. It's in the chat section. You can do that. That helps us grow. If you ever want to support us when we're not on live, just at any time, there's a little heart icon on all the episodes, a little heart icon that says thanks. Click that. That helps support us. And when you subscribe to the channel, Jim Masters TV, and we thank you for doing that, make sure you click the notification bell icon. It looks like a little bell. And when you click that, you'll get alerts from us about all the upcoming episodes that we have coming up. As a matter of fact, I want to let you know we have some extraordinary guests that are coming up. We have renowned American shoe designer to royalty, to some of the biggest celebrities in the world. Vanessa Noel is joining us live and direct from New York City, from Manhattan, tomorrow. She's actually opening up a shoe museum in Manhattan that she's working on. She also owns beautiful hotels in Nantucket. She's extraordinary. She's with us tomorrow. She is a world-renowned shoe designer, and she's all excited to be here. Saturday, live from Scotland. Oh, so we'll give you the times: 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Pacific. That's tomorrow. She's an icon. She's stopping by tomorrow. Then on Saturday, at a special time, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, that is noon Pacific, Lexi Elliott is a phenomenal Scottish novelist. She's got a new novel out. She's written tons of them. She's fantastic. She's going to be with us, writer, novelist, author extraordinaire, coming to us live from Scotland, coming up on Saturday, a special Saturday afternoon with Jim and Lexi. Get a cup of coffee going, tea, make a sandwich, whatever, and join us in the afternoon on Saturday as Lexi Elliott joins us live from Scotland. We're looking forward to that as well. And coming up in just a couple of weeks, Renee Martin is going to be with us live from Nashville here on the Jim Masters Show. And we've got a bevy of guests that are going to be with us next week and so much more. But take a look at some of the folks that have been through our, experience of JMS Live in Levity Hall, who've stopped by Levity Hall in the past. It's been incredible, the amount of guests we have working so hard behind the scenes to put all these shows together and sort of trying to do a balancing act with my career in broadcast media and everything else. Sometimes it's a close call. Sometimes it's a little crazy because I'm so busy here, there, and everywhere with all the shows I host and everything I do in my professional life. But it's so cool to have all of you guys here as often as you are. Yes, like, comment, subscribe, and thank you for doing that. We appreciate that. If this was your first time watching the Jim Masters Show Live, welcome to Levity Hall. Welcome to the Jim Masters Show Live. We love all of you. We appreciate all of you. We don't say goodbye around here. We say see you later. Ciao, cheers, moi loop, slancha, sayonara, hasta la vista. We say cheerio. Take care. Be well. Shalom. And don't forget to relax. Take care of one another. Love one another. You know, the world's crazy right now. A lot of nutty things going on. So come join us as often as you can. You'll always feel good. You'll always learn something. You'll always be entertained. We always have some levity, and our famous levity we throw into the mix. Sometimes anything can happen. That's what makes it cool, too. It's not so, the show isn't like edited and, where it's, it's authentic, and I love that. We could easily pop up heavily edited shows, and we can do that. But there's something about having you and us and all of us together and the vibe of what we're doing. It's like a talk show you see on television, old school quality, modern vibe, blending those worlds together. That's what we do here, and it's unique. And having all of you with us makes it even sweeter. Don't forget to relax. Take care of one another, love one another, and take time for yourself. Believe me, your host here has to remind himself to do this all the time. All the time. I have to look at this and say, oh, yeah, that's right, Jim, relax. And, have a cup of coffee and have a sandwich or something. As soon as I wrap this episode up, I got so much work to do. I got a voiceover project where I'm going to be voicing like 50 pages of script for a documentary that is being produced by one of the TV networks. I've got 3 commercial voiceovers to do tonight. I got scripts to write. Then I've got radio shows tomorrow. Then there's JMS tomorrow. And then it's the world that we're in, and I love it. I love what I do. If you love what you do, it's not work. Do what you love what you do. And one of the things that I also love is hosting and producing the Jim Masters Show Live series for all of you, and you and you and you, as we always say. So hopefully you're getting something out of this. We hope you are, and express it. Let us know. Leave a comment in the comment section. Stop by as often as you can, and let's share in the good times. Kathleen says, Jim, you are simply the best. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And everybody watching. Again, you can share these episodes direct from our YouTube channel on social media. Thanks to all of you who have done that and have been doing that. We really appreciate that. Helps us grow big time. And again, we appreciate the thousands of new viewers and subscribers and everybody who's checking us out here in Levity Hall. And those of you who write privately, you send messages on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, appreciate that as well. You can find me on all of those places, the platforms. Jim Masters TV is where you will find yours truly on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So yeah, hope you had a good time. Now go get a sandwich like Mark is. Or maybe he's going to have a sandwich made for him. We appreciate him being with us here on the show. It was an awesome conversation, and we appreciate all of you. Thanks for being with us, spending all the time. It's always a pleasure. Parting is such sweet sorrow. That's, again, why we don't say goodbye. We say, see you later. And Jim Masters, thank you for your time this time till next time. Be well. Catch you on the next one if you're watching live. If you're watching this Memorex, stay right here. Another episode comes up in our archives on the Jim Masters Show Live. Be well. Thanks for being with us. This was a cool episode. Cheers.